Mr. Speaker, I now yield 5 minutes to the gentleman from California, Mr. Baca, former paratrooper with both the 101st and the 82nd Airborne Divisions.
The gentleman from California is recognized for 5 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I rise in support of House Resolution Concurrence 63. I thank the Armed Service Committee Chairman, Mr. Skelton, for carrying this legislation in support of our military troops and opposing the President's plan to send at least 21,500 more troops to Iraq. I speak today as a proud veteran who served in the United States Armed Service as a paratrooper in the 101st and 82nd Airborne Division. As a veteran and as a congressman, I voted against this war in the year 2002 because no one could convince me why we had to be there in the first place. I tormented with this decision. I talked to many of my constituents. I called the bishop in my area. I couldn't see what invading Iraq had to do with securing homeland. No one in the administration could convince me that there was weapons of mass destruction in Iraq. But we send our troops there anyway, without proper training or proper equipment. This administration was in such a hurry to invade Iraq that we sent our military in there with defective body arms and hammers that couldn't withstand the roadside bombs. In fact, before Congress made any appropriations for Iraq invasion, the President took $6,000 million from our troops in Afghanistan and sent it to Iraq. The administration has refused to listen to its own generals, to Congress, or to the American people, They just do what they want. After September the 11th, I was willing to do anything to make our country safe, like all of us. We came together in a bipartisan. And I believe in fighting terrorists in Afghanistan was the right thing to do. But the current situation in Iraq proves that we have been saying all along the Iraq war has not and will not make America safer. Instead, it's costing the American taxpayers dollars. $200 million every day. $200 million every day. The money that we spend in Iraq could have sent 17 million high school students to college. Can you imagine 17 million students going on to college right now that we could have provided assistance to, or paid for 16 million new school teachers, reduced the student ratio, funded Leave No Child Behind Act, or help with Katrina? But more money has been spent on this war, and yet it's costing us money for those that we're losing our lives right now. Over 3,000 men and women have given their lives for this war, and over 23,000 are coming home wounded or disabled. Mr. Speaker, over 10,000 of these troops are so severely wounded that they will never be able to serve again. Never be able to serve again. Let me tell you, and you have to look at them, never able to serve again. Now the President wants to send 21,500 more troops to the most dangerous part of Iraq. Why? Why? Why are we sending our troops to fight in another country's civil war? Another country's civil war. Mr. Speaker, this isn't a strategy for success. This is a desperation attempt by the administration who can't admit that they made a mistake. They made a mistake. They need to admit it. And the sooner we come to the realization, and the better off this country will be. As a veteran, I understand that sometimes war is necessary. But as a veteran,
I also know that war should always be the last resort, because war means someone's sons and daughters won't come home. Someone's sons and daughters won't come home. It means separating parents from their children, leaving their homes, someone making the sacrifices.
Gentleman's time has expired.
I yield the gentleman an additional minute.
The gentleman from California is recognized for 1 minute.
Thank you. In my home state of California alone, we have lost 325 men and women in Iraq. And back in my home district, we've lost 10 outstanding young men. It just breaks my heart. Mr. Speaker, you don't put the American families through this kind of pain unless you're sure, beyond any shadow of doubt, that there are no other options. The President has failed to convince me in 2002, and I'm still not convinced to this day. I say, let's support this resolution. Let's bring back our men. I yield back the balance of my time.